think we can go wrong in any situation by saying, how could I add value here? Is there what a next step that's always a good step is, how can I add value?
I think for a long time I believed and I thought like, oh, I'll contribute, I'll give money away, I'll be one of those generous people when I'm, making a good living. But that mindset was challenged and eventually changed to where I felt like, no, like we need to, with whatever we have, we need to figure out how we can be helpful, because maybe we never have a lot, and I don't want to die and have the regrets of like, man, I wish I would have helped more people.
You're going to live a richer life daily if you can kind of tie that in to something that at the end you can say, I made an impact, and maybe perhaps this outlasts me.
On this episode of the podcast, we talk about purpose, impact, and doing the uncommon things in the world of business. Hey, what's up, my friend? It is Ryan from Studio Sherpas. This is the Grow Your Video Business Podcast. Hey, I'm super happy that you're here. If you're new, you're like, what is going on? I am here to help you grow your video business. I'm assuming you're in video production. Maybe you're not. And if you're not, welcome anyway. We talk about sales and marketing and operations and all things to help your business grow. So if you're an entrepreneur and you're looking for some tips and tricks, this is a good spot. But if you are specifically a commercial or corporate filmmaker and you want to learn from some of the best in the world, this is the place, because I've got amazing guests that I bring on that are incredibly gifted and talented and have achieved all kinds of success. So I'm thankful that you're here. I've been running my own video production business for 20 years, and this brand has really served me well as I've been able to learn from so many incredible people. I also bring on filmmakers who share their journey and share what's working, what's not. I tend to be an open book and share what has worked in my business and what hasn't, and hopefully that can help you and serve you so that you can do this work for a long time, because we all know how powerful and important video production and storytelling is. So I'm thankful that you are here. And if you're in a spot where you desire community, you want to grow and you want to do it with other people, and you want kind of like a board of advisors, people that you can tap on and just say, hey, I need help. Hey, I'm looking for a shooter, an editor. We've got a job that's not in our city, and we're looking for somebody that might be in this city. If you're looking for ongoing training and you're looking for a little bit of coaching along the way, we have what is called the 10X Filmmaker, and this is a coaching community where there is ongoing training. I am bringing in experts to do live workshops. I host a monthly coaching call. There is a community that you can plug in and get access to, an exclusive community. So if you want more information on 10X Filmmaker, we are opening the doors for the first time in almost a year and a half since we opened it originally. And so we've got some really fun things that we are adding to the community, accountability and challenges and other things to help keep you going, to help keep you motivated, to help you grow and to help you help others grow. So go to studiosherpas.com/10xfilmmaker. It's the number 10, 10x filmmaker, and check out what it's all about. And I would love to see you in there. If the doors are closed for some reason, just click on the wait list and you'll get added, and we'll notify you as soon as the doors are open. But during this recording, it's not open yet, but we're opening it very, very soon, and would love to see you inside of there. That's all I got. Let's jump into the episode. Roll the tape, DJ, and here we go. What's up, friends? Welcome to another episode of the show. Today with me is Mike Gingerich, who is an entrepreneur, author, fitness addict, and globally minded business guy who seeks to live a life of impact that is uncommon. Mike, welcome to the show, man.
Hey, thank you, Ryan. Just good to be here and to connect with you once again. It's been a while since we last saw each other, but at least we can get together here virtually, and kind of looking forward to conversing.
Yeah, love it. So let's just start. Let's elephant in the room. In the room, is that how you say that? Tell us about your tattoo.
Which one?
Okay, when we talk about your commitment to your mission, how about
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, yeah. I actually have my mission tattooed on my body: add value, be uncommon. And so it's a reminder to me when I get out of the shower and look in the mirror of what I want to be and do and live about. And so, I mean, the add value piece for me is that it's kind of a mindset. It's like in any situation. I don't think we can go wrong in any situation by saying, how could I add value here? Is there what a next step that's always a good step is how can I add value?
Mm,
And then the second part of that is be uncommon. And I think that, you know, society often tries to kind of funnel us in a certain direction. And I think that oftentimes we can kind of get dulled or our senses get down. We just kind of get into some routines. And I think that being uncommon, and you think about it from a marketing perspective, business marketing, what are the ones that are memorable to you or what stands out to you? It's something that's uncommon, right? So that's the Super Bowl commercial that you remember. That's the somehow something jumped out of your inbox in the emails.
mm,
It's because it's something about it was typically uncommon, and
yeah.
so I think that we're at our best when we're being our unique selves, and so I think that's uncommon. That's we're each unique. It's going to be different from the masses.
Yeah, yeah, that's so good. What was the light bulb moment for you where this actually became like something that resonated with you so much?
Yeah. I don't know if there was like a single moment, but I began to understand. I think so through a number of readings, through some connections, business groups, things like that. The fact that we're most alive when we're doing something that is meaningful to us, and um, I think when we and for me, that was kind of a light bulb that I am most alive when I am kind of my authentic self. And
Mm,
that typically looks different from a standard, 8 to 5 punch in, punch out. For me, that did. And I needed to live that. And there was life in that. And so I began to take some steps. And so, I mean, part of that was, you know, what is my purpose? What is my meaning? And 2015, I in addition to being in business, I created a nonprofit, and kind of the big one of the big Kahuna moments for me in that was in 2018. I did a fundraiser to raise money for um, people groups in northern Iraq that had their homes destroyed by Mosul, or in Mosul, I should say, by ISIS when ISIS was in control there.
mm,
And through a series of connections, I got connected to some people there, and so I decided the uncommon thing to do was to raise money by running a marathon in northern Iraq to raise money for these people to rebuild homes. So that kind of stands out to me as a step I took that most people always say, "You did what?" kind of thing.
yeah, yeah. That's good. Um, that is uncommon. I like it. When you and I chatted last, I think we were live streaming together, and conversation was definitely around digital marketing and all of
Yep,
those things. Since then, I know you went on a trip, a vision trip,
that's right.
and I would love for you to just what made you decide to go on a trip like this? What were you hoping to get out of it, and what was the result of this event?
Yeah. I probably have a little bit of an eclectic background. So I kind of, in the late 90s and through early 2000s, I did work for a nonprofit. And during that time, um, my job was basically to kind of coordinate and set up, let's call them internship semesters for young adults. And so I traveled a lot during that time internationally. I got to 25 5 countries. And
Wow.
I saw a lot of, and these weren't, kind of the glamorous places. I didn't spend loads of time in London, Paris, that type of thing. But
Yeah.
I got into Cambodia and Indonesia and Honduras, different places, and so it wasn't necessarily some of the um, well-to-do places, but I just met some tremendous people. And one thing I learned from that was that everyone understands commerce, right? That's a common language. You can go anywhere and the exchange of goods, right? And
Yeah.
so I pivoted into business after that, and I spent 10, 14 years in digital marketing, and still have some going on in that realm, digital marketing. Um, and somewhere along the way, I turned 50 and began to kind of think about, what am I going to do in this next phase, right? And
Yeah.
I don't know, there's something about that. Um, and so I wanted to, bring some pieces together that were a culmination of maybe my eclectic experiences. And because I saw that business was a common language for people across the world, but we could learn things from others, and they had outside kind of the American economy, the American U.S. system of business. And so through a nonprofit, I set up what's called a vision trip. And that is, we went to Ecuador last November, and picked Ecuador specifically because a pretty, relatively small country, but you can have in the same day you can be in the Amazon jungle. So the Amazon goes into Ecuador. You land in Quito, which is at 9,000 feet. So contrast that to Denver, just mile high, 5,000 some feet. So this is way up there. And then you can still get higher by going into the Andes. You can do all that in technically in a day. You can be in the Andes over 12,000 feet, or you can be in the jungle. And so I wanted to take people into both of those locations. And so we would go and we would sit with some, my nonprofit's mission is to basically provide microfinance loans to women and people groups at risk, helping them with a small business loan so that they can grow. Just because outside of the U.S., money lending can be quite a racket. I mean, I'm not saying it's not in the U.S. as well at times, but it can be a racket and high interest rates and all that kind of thing. So it's amazing what doing something like a $500 loan can do to a micro business for a single mother with a couple kids in the Amazon. But when you take people and you can go and you sit with these people, the like customer service from their perspective, what they're doing, how they greet you, how they take care of you, what they show you. And that was the goal, was basically to take some business people there, get them out of their normal zones, again, uncommon situation, and then have them experience something like introduction to this woman, her business, her community, and her culture, and then have us reflect on customer service that we experienced. That's a long answer.
Yeah. So you're on this trip, and do you have any aha moments for yourself?
Absolutely. For me, it was the passions really came alive to say, this is what I want to give myself to. If I'm gonna have 10 years, 15 years left of myself that's really high impact and could make a difference, I think getting people to experience this and the collaboration or the connection that can happen when these groups of people meet. Someone, a woman in the Amazon jungle of Ecuador and some entrepreneurs from the U.S., and they can sit down and come together and listen to each other. That amazing things can happen that impact how we go forward. And that's what I wanted to be about. And so for me, one of the key things was that I think the common focus in American business is simply on profitability and how we can continue to raise the bar in our business and squeeze out some more profits. And obviously, we need to be profitable. But I think, and what I've learned in some of these other contexts, is that they are doing it in other locations worldwide in maybe some more difficult circumstances than what we're used to, but they're doing it with a focus that also has a high value on people and even the planet, sustainability, those type of things. And they're weaving all those things together. And there is a term for that, it's called the 3Ps that's out there. And so for me, that is a shift from the digital marketing world into this 3P focus. And one of the tools of that is hopefully vision trips.
So I'm a video business owner, and
Yep.
I'm trying to figure out, okay, how to make this business sustainable. How do I provide for my family? Maybe I have some employees. How do I make sure that I'm providing for them? And in doing this work and trying to enjoy it and trying not to work, crazy hours and all the things.
Yep.
With the 3Ps, like at what point do I have capacity, or should I be thinking about more than just profitability for my business?
Yeah. I mean, if you're having trouble, meeting your own payroll, or taking care of yourself in that regard, I mean, I think you have to start with the profitability P, that one, and you have to take a look at, okay, so what are some ways to either, and so it's a consultation in that regard. What are some ways that you either increase income, diversify, or what are ways that you also probably both and become more efficient, streamline some cost savings, those types of things. So I think you need to start there. So you want to, obviously the key is that you can find that sweet spot so that you don't feel like you're month to month, you feel like you have worked on. So consulting pieces can come in that area. I think that one's important. You have to have a baseline of profitability, or find that. That's the starting point. And then once you have found that, then you can take a look at some other pieces. So the people thing can be your team members. Obviously your family, and obviously what type of time commitment you're giving to the business versus your family. You should be hopefully taking a look at a holistic approach there, where yes, you're giving quality time to the business, but it should not be running your life, and you should be feeling like you can contribute in positive ways to your family. But I think that the people side can also be a little bit broader than that, then, because every business is within a community, has a community. There's and so can they contribute in the community? Obviously, the way you interact with your customers and vendors is a piece of your people impact. And are there ways that you can think of adding value to the lives of customers in a unique way? We have that a shared friendship with Jessica Phillips of the Now Marketing Group. We both spoke at her conference, Social Media Week Lima, and Jessica is known for being the relationship marketing gal, and so she always talks about it's not just an exchange, but it's about a relationship that's going to be the best with your customers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great. Well, pitch the vision for somebody that might be thinking, when we think about our purpose, a lot of us can fall into this idea that, like for me, filmmaking, storytelling, like that seems very purposeful. But at the same time, like we have so much more to offer in our lives, and filmmaking should never become our identity. So there's opportunity to contribute in other ways. So, talk to me like, hey, Ryan, here's an opportunity for you to, from your perspective, get a lot more out of life by thinking about all the things a little bit differently.
Yeah. No, so I like to encourage people to think about number one, having an impact, and thinking that, and you can through obviously your product. And as well, you can through the process and through the interactions. And so I think I like to encourage people to step back, step out, take a look around them. And again, so I'll come back to that vision trip kind of piece because that's just kind of one of the ways to do it. Um, it's a opportunity for a little bit of a stepping outside of doing the business and instead through another experience looking at your business um, from an outside perspective and thinking about you know what when I'm done, when I sell this business, when I retire, when I am finished, what do I want to have left as a legacy? What do I want people to remember about this brand, about me, about this business? And so I'm encouraging people to think deeper, that you're going to be a live a richer life daily if you can kind of tie that in to something that at the end you can say, I made an impact and maybe perhaps this outlast me, and it's not just the brand name, but something that a positive impact that lasts. And so it's not just transactional. It's not just I think that a a successful film, I like that. A successful film can move people, right? So you get into that, and it can tell a story, it can touch the heart, and so and again, that can last, that can change someone's perspective. So how can a small business owner think about doing that through their business interactions and the way they go about doing business?
Yeah, that's good. It reminds me of, I remember when my wife and I were newly married and we made like no money. I mean, almost no money. We did make some money, but we were challenged to like give money away and to help people that were less fortunate than us. And I think for a long time I believed and I thought like, oh, I'll contribute. I'll give money away. I'll be one of those generous people when I'm, making a good living. But until then, I'll just hang on to what I've got and, keep surviving. When that mindset was challenged and eventually changed to where I felt like, no, like we need to, with whatever we have, we need to figure out how we can be helpful, because maybe we never have a lot, and I don't want to die one day. I mean, I will die one day. I don't want to die and have the regrets of like, man, I wish I would have helped more people. And, obviously financially, like a percentage of, almost nothing isn't very much, but I think it's the heart behind it, and it's what it does to you. When you give, there's a saying that you receive. And if we can practice that when, like I was saying, like, well, I'm super busy. I'm trying to, scale not scale. I'm trying to build a sustainable business. I'm trying to provide for my family and my employees. And yes, like all of that stuff, all of that's true. And can we also challenge ourselves to, like you're saying, step back and look at whether it's with our finances or it's with our talents, right? The fact that we can tell these amazing stories. So does that mean, I once a month I'm setting aside a set of hours to work on a project that could be a gift for somebody or deeply discounted for something that could impact the world? I think that's where my mind is kind of thinking like, I want to live a purposeful life. And I know that 20 years of me running a business kind of went by like that. And there were seasons where we had plenty and we could be like, oh yeah, let's we don't have to charge them for, whatever, we can give a discount or whatever. And then there were seasons where it's like, oh man, we're like barely making it. We do not have the capacity. There are those seasons, but if we can all think about the many different ways that we can be helpful and add value to people's lives. It doesn't have to be financially. It can be with our time and our talent,
There you
and
go.
obviously with our resources. So this is good. This is good. Good for us to, I think, to think through.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just encouraging people to take that time to stop and to reflect. And I think that far too many of us, because I've been there, have felt burnout, have felt like I'm stuck in a rat race. And I think when that happened, in my reflections for myself, I was too focused on just the transactions of the next sale and getting that contract signed. And when I was able to kind of step back and say, okay, what can I, what's happening in this business that's wanting to perhaps hire me and contract me, and what can I add value to their team, and how can I go about that? So when it began to be just a little bit broader than that transactional approach, and to begin to take a look at how can I offer value, and sure, that's a product service, but it's in the way, it's in the attitude, the method that you bring with it. And so for me, I think that's kind of where all this came, and I kind of began to make this shift. And again, like you said, even small things, and that's why I've focused a lot on microfinance for the vision and mission side of iGive Global, just because, like I said, that loan, $250, might not seem like a lot, but it can be the entire business loan needed to get that business really off the ground in another country. And then so that's a fairly small thing, and then so that's and so I have a twofold focus. That's my focus. That's what I'm giving my time to. I'm in Costa Rica right now. I don't know, can't tell. I'm in a small little room here, and so I'm exploring some new possibilities in Costa Rica. So that's where I'm at, and what I'm doing. And then the other side of that is trying to continue to share with largely businesses in the U.S. what are the possibilities, because I think there's a new generation coming up. They've gotten out of university, they're into their career, and they're saying, man, just this, this 7 to 6 thing, that's not, am I going to do that for the next 30 years? And is that fun? And they're looking for a purpose in what they do. I think that's really sharpened in a younger generation. And then there's those like myself who are 50 plus and saying, I see a final season ahead, a push. And what do I want to do in that last, I've got my experience, but I've got this piece before me. What do I want to do with that? How do I want to operate so that when I get done, I can say, I did well, I gave myself, I can feel good about that. And then, so kind of working and hoping to work with that kind of group as well.
Yeah, that's great. So how can people find out more about the work that you're doing, and what does it look like to get involved with what you've got going on?
Yeah. So obviously the website is the first place, and it's igiveglobal.org, org. And so that is the website. There's information there. I also have something called a 3P, which is People, Planet, and Profits, 3P Impact Community, which is basically a online community where like-minded people are talking about these things. So we kind of have a video chat group where we can share messages together. Then once a month, I'm bringing in a resource speaker, myself, someone else that's involved in some aspect of that 3Ps. So it's to carry that conversation forward, and it's to be a place where you can interact with like-minded people. So that's the 3P Impact Community on the site, and hoping to planning to do another vision trip back to Ecuador in this fall, 2024, and looking forward to getting back into those places. I mean, it's just a tremendous experience to be able to take a week of your time, take 8 days, and get out of your context and go sit in the Amazon, have some monkeys come around you, to get up into the Andes at high altitudes, and to see other businesses, small businesses there, and what they're doing with their customer service, how they're trying to grow their profitability and their people perspective, and then we sit back and reflect on those pieces. Tremendous experience if you're in one of those spots where you're trying to think about, what do I want to do? Get with some others who are also thinking about that, and that's the goal, so we can interact around these pieces. And I think that makes our businesses better. I think that makes us a better business person, because it brings a sharpness, a value. So we're doing it. I mean, I'm getting people right there. I'm tapping my tattoo again. We're getting people to think about how they can add value, how they can be uncommon.
I love it. So good. Appreciate the work that you're doing. Thanks for being here. How do you want to leave us today?
I want to encourage you to take a moment to rest and reflect, and get away in the next day and take 10 minutes and just open up a notebook, be quiet, and say, okay, how am I doing with adding value? And what's it going to mean for me 10 years from now to say that was valuable? Just answer those two questions. Think about those two.
That's awesome. Awesome. Mike, thank you so much. Appreciate it, man. Hey, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Make sure to leave a comment. Let me know what your feedback is on it. And if there's anything I can do to serve you, please email me, ryan@studiosherpas.com. I'm always like, email me at Ryan at, I just, there's lots of ats there. So anyway, yes, Ryan@studiosherpas.com is my email address. Would love to hear from you. And I hope that you take to heart some of these things. We can get so into the work that we forget that our life is more than just the work that we do. And if we can think about how can we show up for others and how can we help and serve and add value in the world, not just in our amazing storytelling and in our amazing video stuff, but as a business owner, as a husband or a wife or a friend or a son, or just all of the things. I'm here for it, and I'm glad that you're along for the journey. I'm assuming you're here for it, and if you're not, maybe you will be. So anyway, thank you so much. If you like this show, share it with somebody else. Let somebody else know, hey, you should check this show out. And I appreciate you a lot. I will talk to you on the next episode. And until then, keep on climbing, my friend. Talk to you real soon. See ya.